Hello everyone and welcome back to CPC week 3. So this week we're up against Rob and his Dallas Starmies. He's also a divisional opponent. He's currently sitting at 2-0 while we are sitting at 1-1. So if we get a win over him, that would be really big. And he's currently leading our division and he has a really strong team and he's a really solid player who has won MPL minus this past season. I don't have much time, so I will be going with the teams fairly quickly and then just hop right into the battle. So as you can see, here are the teams we both brought. So he brought Celesteela, Celezzle, Crocodile, Electivire, Megalatios and Suicune. So that's pretty much what I expected. There were some mons on the bench that I could definitely see coming, but I thought those were the 6 mostly like mons to come. Why? Because Megalatios plus Celezzle are both really great offensive mons versus me. Latios is really a solid mon in the format. Electivire I definitely saw it coming because it really helps him deal with Jolteon and Tapu Fini, which could be really huge for him. Crocodile as his main rocker, and also does fairly well versus my team. And then Suicune and Celesteela more as like bulky-ish pivots, I assumed. And Celesteela also can offensively pack some punch with the right coverage. So the mons I ended up bringing were Zoroark, Tapu Fini, Jolteon, Landorus, Therian, Skarmory and Kangaskhan. So I won't go over the sets too much because we still have a rematch, but some got revealed, some not. Zoroark fairly... you will just see in the match what kind of Zoroark it is. Fini was a fairly standard Fini, I think it was nothing too special. Jolteon was just more as a pivot and also one of the only things that can immediately tread out Celesteela. The only main problem with it is Evire. Then Landorus was U-turn, was with Flying him Z, Fly, Earthquake and some other coverage. And the main thing was I wanted Z Fly because it hits at least everything it hits, because if he goes into a ground immunity on like a Z Z Earthquake, that would be kind of bad, and Z Fly is just a really strong stab. So I thought that was definitely the best way to go about it. Skarmory is also not really a special set. It's mainly there for Stealth Rocks purposes and to defensively pivot out into some mons, mainly the mons he didn't brought. So because he didn't brought like Heracross, Mimikyu, those were like mons Skarmory could quite well deal with. And then Kangaskhan, you won't see more of it in the match, but it's more of a special defensive variant because of that Celezzle mainly. So hop right into the battle. So I lead Landorus as he leads his with his Suicune, which is a really good lead for him because I can't really stay in with Landorus right here. So I immediately I U-turn out because I thought if he pulls a double, because Fini is quite obvious, I can take advantage of that. Plus I get to see how defensively invested he is. So he reveals to be quite defensively invested. He goes for Safe Scald. I go into Fini. I get off a Nature's Madness here on the incoming Celesteela, which is really huge because weakening this is really great for my team. So here I just go Jolteon because if he goes for, as you can see, it threatens out Celesteela, which is nice. And as you can see, if it went for like a grass move, it doesn't do that much. Gets a little bit of recovery back. Now he goes out into his Electivire as I just go for Baton Pass to get a pivot out. Go out into a Landorus because I know I can just fire off an EQ. If he stays in, if he's more offensive, stays in, outspeeds me, goes for Ice Punch, he most likely can't kill me from full, especially not with the Intimidate drop. So I go for the safe Earthquake, getting chip on that Suicune. So here I go for the Z Fly because Suicune is in range and I know that it does to this Celesteela about, because from the Giga damage I know he was a modest max special attack, so it does about 40 to 50%, so normal roll 45ish%, so it would definitely be well in range of like any other move on my on my team, and most of my team also outspeeds it, so that would be really nice. So that's why I went for it, and also it killed Suicune from that range. But a bit unfortunate, I get a critical hit. So his Telecilia goes clean down, but this gives him a free switch into his Latios, which is kind of scary. So I go out into Finny immediately as he just throws off a safe Dragon Pulse. Yeah, most likely not wanting me to make like more of an offensive switch into something like Zoroark, and it might also be just the best move to hit Landorus, and he didn't want to mess around with it if I just want to U-turn out on it. So I go out into Finny, and here he sets up a Calm Mind, and I kind of expected that Calm Mind could be a possibility, but I thought if he Calm Minds, a Nature's Madness on the first turn means that he's down to 50%, and then I taunt after, and if he roosts while I then taunt him, he's back at full, but he's only at +1. If he Calm Minds again, he's at +2, but he's still at 50% health. I can definitely take one hit and put him really low and pretty much in range from any of my other ones, which is really nice. So, but unfortunately I missed the Nature's Madness, so he's still at full and he can't Calm Mind up again, and I have to taunt him here because otherwise it might just be game. I know I can take a T-ball from this range, so I just go for Nature's Madness, spray it hits, luckily it connects, and he's at least down to 50% as I lose Finny, because Finny was so low and his whole team almost outspeed Finny, might even that his whole team outspeed Finny. Yeah, I thought it was no reason to preserve it. So here I go out into Landorus, but as you can see the bluff doesn't work, also because you don't see Intimidate, but I just had to Sucker Punch there because yeah, even if he knew it was Zoroark, I don't know what he would do, and I could not risk him staying in, going for a move while I don't outspeed him and he just straight up kills me. I would probably lose the game from there. So I had to Sucker Punch as he just goes out into his Crocodile. I thought he would most likely just get up his rocks, so I go out into my own Landorus to like threaten him out, and I know Landorus deals quite some pressure on his team, especially with Celesteela gone, but I have to U-turn. I can't EQ and let his Latios come in for free and potentially even be able to roost up. So I just go for the U-turn, get a crit on Suicune, which doesn't really matter, as you'll see later on. So here I go into Jolteon, know that he most likely will go out into Electivire, but I thought let me just throw off a Signal Beam because I get some chip on like his whole team. If he decides to pull the switch into Latios, that's really nice. If I hit him with Signal Beam, and I can also scout out the Electivire set. So from this damage, it reveals to me that he's most likely, yeah, he is 100% AV, but also most likely max HP, max speed death, which is good to know for the late game. So I Baton Pass out, go out to Kangaskhan as he goes for an Ice Punch, trying to catch my Lando. If I had gone Lando, that would have been really great for him, getting that Ice Punch damage off. But I pivot out into Kangaskhan. I just go for a return here because I thought return pretty much two-shots his whole entire team except for Crocodile, but I can pivot around Crocodile with Skarmory and Landorus I have. So I click return on the Suicune. I know I naturally outspeed Suicune, so I return again and he's down. This was kind of huge in the sense that it happened that he mis-EV'd his Suicune. He was meant to outspeed no speed Kangaskhan, but apparently now it was something like a speed tie and I won it, and he was Resto Chesto, which could have been huge because Suicune could have definitely been a nice pivot for Zoroark and Landorus later in the game for him. So but also I also kind of mis-EV'd my Kangaskhan because I didn't look over the speeds that well of Suicune. I made the set a little bit too quickly, and I didn't know that Suicune was like at 85 speed, and he would definitely could definitely speed creep. So I should have definitely put in 16 EVs into my Kangaskhan, but just to me rushing, I didn't notice. So a bit of a mishap on both parts. So here he goes Crocodile. As I said already, I just pivot out into Landorus. Knockoff is reduced damage because I have a Z Crystal. So he knocks off again because he knows I most likely will just click U-turn as I do. So he gets a bit of more chip damage onto Landorus. And I'm thinking, okay, if this is a Scarf Crocodile, and I don't know because Crocodile does natural outspeed, but he could EQ sweep me if I let Skarmory and Landorus go down. and Landorus is almost in range of this crocodile, so I have to look out for that. I'm sorry guys, still a bit under the weather. So here I go out into my Skarmory as he so I go out into my Skarmory on the U-turn, so I know I can for sure get my rocks up, because I thought rocks would be quite huge, because they potentially put Latios in range of more of my mons, and also it chips down Electrify every time it comes in onto something like Jolteon, because Electrify is like one of the things that could really hurt me, and also it chips Crocodile a bit further down if it's scarfed, and also gets 25% of every time Salazzle switch in, which also huge, because Salazzle, except for Jolteon, outspeeds my whole team. So here I pretty much have to pick a sack, because Kangaskhan is low, so I let Skarmory go down, go out into Kangaskhan, go for a return, no, it two-shots it, he goes into Latios. Here I, from the next couple of turns, you might see, but I didn't ask Rob if he had much HP investment on his Latios. If he didn't have any speed investment, this was like a 50-50 roll to kill, I believe. But yeah, he lives on 4, and I was like thinking, okay, what can I do? And I was like, okay, I can, like Zoroark also forces Roost 50-50, because does I click Sucker Punch and he attacks me, or does he Roost, does he switch out? So I thought that's not really, that would not work really well. Lando also is low and is in Dragon Pulse range. Jolteon I might need in the late game, and also Jolteon Signal Beam, I don't believe it would just straight up kill Latios. So I thought my best play is just to keep returning him, and at least keep him in range for something like Jolteon or Zoroark in the end, and Kangaskhan is quite Spadef, and I might get a crit in the process, as he just will spam Roost a couple of times here. As I just go for the return, I will sped up this a little bit. So he Roost, I just keep clicking return, I get some lefties back every turn, which is quite nice. He scouts out the damage from time to time with the Dragon Pulse, seeing it only does 32%. He doesn't want to Calm Mind, because as you can see now, he can't Calm Mind, so it's really hard for him, because I might two-shot him, or the problem might be me getting a crit and something. So he just keeps roosting. I keep returning until a few turns later. We will get there shortly. So here, okay, here is important. He was quite healthy, as you can see. He was at 60%, so he knew he could easily take a return from that range, and Dragon Pulse me, put me in range to die. So pretty much from here, he's at 26%, and he knows he can finally kill this Kangaskhan. And this Kangaskhan is quite annoying for him, because Evi doesn't do much to it, as Salazzle doesn't do much to it, which are quite big threats for the rest of my team. So here it's so he can try to keep roosting, but he's slowly running out of roost, and he finally has my Kangaskhan low. He knows he can just kill it off, and if I switch in Zoroark, it's a 50-50. If I switch in Jolteon, he has a pretty free switch into Electivire, and he can try to come in with Latios later on onto something like Landorus and roost up on it, or just kill it, flat out kill it. So he can definitely switch out after he kills this Kangaskhan, which is really nice for him. But as you can see, he tries to go for Dragon Pulse, but I reveal the Sucker Punch here, and this was really huge because of what I said later on. What would have happened a few turns after if Latios was still around, and I'm just keeping that Sucker Punch in the back for this critical moment, and it working was really great and shifted some momentum in my favor. Here he brought in Crocodile. Again, pretty much I have to sack something. He just goes for a knockoff, kills me. Here I go out into Zoroark, because if he's scarfed, he's scarf knockoff, and Zoroark can just take him out. And knockoff doesn't do that much to it, so I thought that was my best play. I just go for the flamethrower, because that was the best move to kill him. Here he goes to Lezel, and as I said previously, I don't have really a switch into it anymore, so I just have to go for Sucker Punch and see how much damage it does. It does quite a nice amount of damage. So he goes for Flamethrower, he kills me, and I'm like, okay, if he scarfs Lezel, which is a bit weird versus my team, it's probably GG. But if he's not, I can still win this. But here's a critical turn, because I switch in Jolteon, because Landorus would just flat out die to Lezel. I switch in Jolteon, and T-Bolt kills Lezel from this range. But I can't. I can never click T-Bolt here, because he could be, I think it's Motor Drive. I think Electivire has 2 electric immunity abilities, but one of them is if it is hit by an electric move, it gets a speed boost. And if he would go hard into Electivire, get that speed boost, he outspeeds my Landorus also in the back and just has Ice Punch to flat out kill it. So I have to go for HPIs. And luckily for me, he is well in range for HPIs. I calculated, HPI did like 60 to 20%. So I have to go for it. He just stays in. I think it was still in his best interest to go out into Electivire. Yes, Lezel dies on the switch in. But he had pretty much the hope that I would just Thunderbolt him. Or he was not that ability, I don't know. So here he goes, Electivire. I go for Signal Beam, get some chip damage off on him. He reveals that Ice Punch is the best move to hit me. It doesn't kill me. I could get some more chip on it, potentially get a Signal Beam confused, but he freezes me. I think it's not the end of the world. So Ice Punch kills Jolteon. Then I go out into Landorus. If everything is right, I should outspeed this Electivire by the calcs from how much damage it took in the previous turns, but I still am not 100% sure. But I do outspeed, I kill with Earthquake, and that's GG Rob. That was a really great game. It was really down to the wire. And I think, I was really happy with this win, because his team was really threatening for me. It was a nice game, and there was a bit of hacks involved, but I think it mostly went 2 ways. I don't know if there's anyone who benefited the most from it. I don't think it was really. But yeah, that was really a great game. And yeah, so we are now 2-1. He is 2-1. We're still a little bit behind him, because he had a really big win last week. But we are in a winning mood again, and that means we are going hard in next week. And next week we face Will, who is in the same conference. He isn't doing too hot right now, but last season in week 2 we lost to Will. We made it up later in the season, but he's still 1-on-1 versus me, and he has a really scary team, so I definitely have to look out for him nonetheless. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.